All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're dissecting a piece of modern folklore that is honestly pure nightmare fuel. We're looking at a story that perfectly captures what happens when arrogant modern skepticism crashes headfirst into ancient, unexplained terror. It's a narrative analysis of the shadows of Dunspoor. Now, I absolutely love breaking down stories like this because the structure of the fear is just so incredibly methodical. We're going to look at the anatomy of a haunting, using the source text to trace exactly how this author builds an inescapable trap for the main character. So settle in and let's explore what's hiding in the dark. You know, every good cautionary tale starts with a hard line in the sand. After sunset, no one will go towards the northern forest. It's the absolute cardinal rule of Dunpur village. The locals don't just avoid those woods because of bears or wolves either. The source material explicitly points out their belief that there are not just trees out there. There is something else. This sets up a deeply foreboding atmosphere right out of the gate. A rigid boundary like this in any story, well, it's basically a Chekhov's gun. You just know for sure someone is going to cross it. Section 1. The Mystery of Dundpur. Welcome to a place trapped by relentless rain and ancient secrets. So enter our guy, Aarav. He's a young horror writer from the city, and he perfectly illustrates our core conflict here. He is steeped in modern arrogance. He firmly believes ghosts are pure fiction, and he's literally just looking at this incredibly isolated, drenched village as cheap material for his next book. But the village's collective consciousness, it operates totally differently. Their fear isn't just blind panic. It's a deep-rooted, ancient respect for something profoundly unnatural living in that northern forest. So the tension we're feeling isn't just about whether a monster is real. It's a massive clash of worldviews. Section 2, Knock on the Window. Our inciting incident begins on a dark, pouring night, safely locked away in a second-floor room. Okay, picture the setup. The entire village is fast asleep. Aarav is staring out his window at the forbidden northern forest. The text notes that with every single flash of lightning, Aarav spots these strange shapes, almost like someone standing right there amongst the trees. Now, at first, he brushes it off as an optical illusion. His skepticism is holding strong. Until tap, tap, tap. The narrative hits us with a sudden, impossible jump scare. Remember the spatial geography the author set up earlier? Aarav is in a second-story room. There's no balcony, no ledge. That knock comes from outside his window at a height that no human being could ever possibly reach from the ground. This is the exact moment the psychological dread bleeds over into physical reality. Aarav is completely stunned. He slowly, hesitantly pulls back the curtain, revealing an empty night. There's literally no one there. But the horror isn't in what he sees, right? It's in what was left behind. Fresh fingerprints pressed against the glass. Long, abnormal, distinctly non-human fingerprints. Aarav's arrogant shield instantly shatters, and the text makes sure to note that our skeptic stays completely sleepless for the rest of the night. Section 3. The Forest's Call. A rattled Aarav seeks out the village elder, Dut Baba, who warns him that the less he knows, the better. So Dut Baba reluctantly lays out a terrifyingly methodical three-step process. Step 1, the forest calls out to you with a voice. Step 2, it reveals a face to the victim. And Step 3, which is the real tragic twist here, the entity doesn't drag you away. No, the victim, whether they're mesmerized or just broken, willingly walks toward it to their doom. It's a psychological seduction just as much as it is a physical threat. Hearing this, Aarav's defense mechanism actually kicks in. He laughs. He literally tells Baba that ghosts don't exist. But Baba just looks him dead in the eye and delivers this line. "There was a knock on your window last night, wasn't there?" This is such a masterful narrative stroke. Aarav's arrogance totally crumbles. He turns pale. He hadn't told a single soul about the tapping, yet the elder knows. It proves that whatever is out there is connected to this village in ways Aarav can't even begin to comprehend. I mean, come on, should Aarav have listened? From a staying alive perspective, absolutely. But from a narrative standpoint, human curiosity, especially when it's fueled by ego, is a fatal flaw. Driven by this desperate need to prove the old man wrong and protect his fragile modern worldview, Aarav makes the incredibly foolish decision to go investigate the woods himself. Section 4. The Terrifying Truth. We are now walking right into the entity's domain, leaving the safety of the human world behind. At exactly midnight, Aarav steps into the fog-filled forest with nothing but a flashlight. Notice the brilliant technique the author uses right here: sensory deprivation. The moment Aarav steps past the tree line, there is this eerie, suffocating silence. No sound of insects, no wind blowing, no rustling of leaves at all. The natural world has just been entirely muted. And into this vacuum of sound creeps exactly what Dut Baba warned about. Step 1 of the process. Aarav hears the faint, slow singing of a woman, and like a moth to a flame, he follows it. Let's track how fast this actually hits the fan. He enters at midnight. As he walks deeper, the text notes the trees turn pitch black, and their branches branch out like open hands reaching out for him. By 12:15 a.m., his flashlight dies. Absolute darkness hits, and simultaneously, the singing stops. The silence comes back, heavier than before. Then, at 12:16 a.m., a voice whispers from right behind him, "You have arrived." Aarav slowly turns around. Standing there is a woman in white clothes. Her face is completely covered by her hair, and her feet are literally hovering inches above the ground. Terrified, but still trying to cling to some sort of reason, Aarav stammers out, "Who are you?" The woman slowly lifts her head to reveal her face. That's step 2 of Baba's warning. But there is no face. The text describes it as nothing but black, empty darkness. At this point, Aarav's brain just snaps. He screams and sprints backward, kicking off this chaotic, desperate escape sequence. The entire forest turns against him. The trees start shaking, echoing with whispers commanding him to stay, telling him he belongs to them now. He trips and spots this old well emitting a sinister red light. Inside it, dozens of trapped faces just begging for help. Suddenly, black hands burst from the soil and grab his leg. He is seconds away from being pulled under, when miraculously, a distant temple bell rings from the village. That divine sound shatters the supernatural grip. The forest violently shakes, and the hands vanish. Section 5. The Vanished Village. Aarav miraculously escapes the tree line, but the author has one ultimate, crushing twist waiting for us. Aarav sprints back into Gunpur, thinking he's safe, but he returns to find the entire village completely empty. Not a single human being, no sound whatsoever, except the wind howling through the abandoned streets. And on every single door of every single house, there's a mark, the exact same black handprint with long, unnatural fingers that Aarav saw on his window. As he stands entirely alone in the desolate center of the village, completely paralyzed by the sheer scale of the horror, a familiar whisper breathes directly behind his ear. "Now you must stay here too." Which brings us to the chilling epilogue. The next morning, independent travelers arrive at Duntor. They find a ghost town. The village is entirely deserted, and Aarav is completely missing. But the most horrifying detail, the piece of evidence that truly cements this story as a masterpiece of dread, is found up in Aarav's room. Fresh, long-fingered marks are found on the glass, but they aren't on the outside this time. They are on the inside. Actually, scratch the idea that he was taken in the village square. He retreated to his room, thinking he was finally safe, and the entity manifested right inside with him. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to analyze. Was the village ever really there when Aarav returned? Or had the forest already consumed it while he was gone? Or perhaps, was Aarav doomed from the very first night, the exact moment he arrogantly looked out his window and invited the darkness in? It's a masterful use of ambiguity that ensures the story stays with you long after it ends. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this analysis gave you a deeper appreciation for the mechanics of a truly terrifying tale. Seriously, keep your curtains closed tonight.